In this video, we're going to be talking about what the center ice position could be looking like for the Blue Jackets for this upcoming season. Center has been an issue for Columbus in years past, especially in trying to find a true top-line center talent. We've had people like Ryan Johansson and Pierre-Luc Dubois come and go in the organization, but it's been a real struggle to find a consistent guy who sticks around for quite a while. But with the events at the NHL draft this year, the Blue Jackets' fortunes might have changed a little bit for the better when they were able to land Adam Fantilli. So we're going to start this video talking off about him. It's going to be really interesting to see where he lands in this lineup for Game 1. I know there's going to be a lot of fans that are going to be clamoring for him to be the top-line center from the outset, and maybe that is something you can get away with against teams like the Flyers, but I'm not sure the organization is going to want to put that kind of pressure on any rookie immediately from the get-go. I know with Chicago, they're going to play Bedard on the top line because they're going to be pretty bad for the next couple years at least, and they want Bedard to, even if it comes with some struggles, they're going to want Bedard to get used to playing in that role. But for the Blue Jackets, they're definitely going to want to try to at least compete for a playoff spot throughout most of the regular season. So the idea of Adam Fantilli just instantly grabbing the top-line center role, I think it is a little bit far-fetched. He could eventually play his way into becoming that top-line center by season's end. I could certainly see that happening with his skill set. But as far as Game 1 in the early season goes, I would surprise to see him playing a middle six role, at least to start out for the year. And if he does play his way into being the top line center between Gaudreau and Laine, or whoever the top line on the wing shakes out, I think that is the best case scenario both for himself playing and for the club, because he's already a candidate to compete with Bedard for the Calder Trophy this year for rookie players. And I think if he's able to move his way up the lineup and start playing with better and better line mates, that just all but increases his chance of maybe being able to nab that trophy from Connor Bedard, depending on how his season goes. But as far as what I really expect him to do at the start of the year, I think maybe he starts as a second line center if he shines throughout training camp and he looks good in his preseason game reps. Maybe even he starts with a short stint as the third line center if the organization really wants to play it safe and keep him sheltered for the first few games. But I don't see him lasting as a third line center very long. I think at the very least, we're going to see him as a second-line center in the early season. If he doesn't grow into that top-line center this year immediately, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I do think Blue Jackets fans like myself are clamoring for a young, exciting prospect that's going to consistently play top-line center, kind of like what we thought Pierre-Luc Dubois was before he decided he wanted out of town. Moving on to Boone Jenner, team captain Boone Jenner. I think, in my opinion, he kind of needs someone to take that top-line center job from him sooner rather than later. Not because he's been bad for the Blue Jackets. I've actually been very pleasantly surprised by his past couple of seasons as that top-line center role. But just his back injury issues are becoming really concerning. He's missed the back half of the past couple of years because of injuries. And honestly, if this team really wants to be a playoff team or a playoff contender, Boone Jenner, even though I said he hasn't been bad, probably isn't a good top-line center on a playoff team anyways. You probably want him either down in the lineup or maybe more in his natural position on the wing. But again, Boone Jenner has been much more than serviceable. He's been pretty darn good as a top-line center for this Blue Jackets team the past couple of years when they've needed somebody to step up. And Boone Jenner as the team captain, he's done that. Couldn't ask for really anything more out of Boone Jenner the past couple seasons. I think it is just it's a very whelming option to have Boone Jenner still be the top-line center after a couple years of this experiment going on for the Blue Jackets. One of the answers that I thought might have happened last season was Jack Roslovic, but I think he lost a good bit of his potential shine after last year. Got off to a bit of another slow start. His point production actually by the end of the season was at a pretty decent place, but there was little to no improvement defensively. His two-way game definitely still needing to be worked on a lot. A bit too inconsistent to be relied on. I remember the first goal against for the Blue Jackets was Jack Roslovic getting fooled by one of the Carolina Hurricanes players, tapping for a pass. He just kind of throws it behind his back when he's behind his own net. Little mistakes and turnovers like that can definitely pop up with Jack Roslovic. A bit too inconsistent to be relied on. He was a trade candidate for the fan base over the offseason, although nothing really picked up on that front. Nothing was reported. With the additions they made at center this offseason, however, I still wouldn't be surprised if he was someone who was a trade candidate at the trade deadline. I don't know if he gets, he seemed to be kind of shaken up after the offseason meeting he had with Jarmo, so I wouldn't be surprised if he might not be in the long-term plans for the organization right at this moment. So getting back to some younger guys, we have Kent Johnson. I mean, if he's the center, then they haven't really acted like it. He rarely played at center in his rookie season. Brad Larson really didn't seem to like him there, although that could change with Mike Babcock. I know there are times where, you know, a young center prospect, their first season is on the wing and they try to, you know, slowly get them used to the NHL. But again, last season there seemed to be no interest in playing him there. He did get some time, but it was only in emergency situations. But again, maybe Mike Babcock changes things when he gets in there. There's also Cole Sillinger, who had a sophomore slump that was in full effect last season. He got sent to Cleveland late last year, even though they really didn't want to. They waited way too long, in my opinion, to send him down there. It was clear that he was struggling in the NHL, not because he was playing terribly or anything, just that the goal scoring and point production confidence wasn't quite there. I still think he was playing in a pretty decent way, but I would have liked to see them send him to Cleveland sooner in order to try to get him get back to putting some more production on the board. So where I think he ends up in the lineup as far as where he plays at the NHL level this season is a bit of a question mark right now. We're going to see how training camp goes, and it might even be a question mark if he starts in Columbus when they make the final lineup. If he doesn't really leave an impression on Mike Babcock, it's possible that he finds 4 center candidates that he likes better, and he's not the 13th or 14th forward. It's possible he starts in the top line on Cleveland next year, but I do think that is kind of a worst-case scenario for Cole Sillinger. I'm going to hedge my bet on him starting at least at the NHL level. There's also Dmitri Voronkov, who was coming over from Russia this year on a 2-year entry-level contract. He does have a clause in his contract to where if he isn't in the NHL by January 1st of 2024, he could go back to Russia or back to Europe. So he might not start on the Blue Jackets lineup, but he will most likely be there before that deadline. I don't know if you heard that, but something just fell down outside the house, so hopefully that didn't make it through onto the audio. But I think Dmitri Voronkov has all the makings of a really solid bottom 6 center. He has plenty of size. He's definitely physical enough. He uses that size to his advantage. He's not afraid to fight at all. If you've ever seen his highlight tape from his KHL playing days, he definitely is willing to drop the gloves and scrap whenever he needs to. I'm going to be rapid firing through the rest of the guys, some of these guys who can play center but not really expected to. Sean Kuraly definitely will play center. He's a decent 4th line center. He can get away with playing on the 3rd line, but if he's in the top 6, I think that means something's gone kind of wrong. There's Hunter McKown, who joined the team late last season out of Colorado College. Didn't really do a whole lot. I'm not sure if he plays much at the NHL level at center with his organization. You also have Liam Foudy, a former first-round pick, likely a 4th line or bottom 6 winger. I doubt he gets much, if any, time at center. And then there's Justin Danforth. Same thing about Liam Foudy here. Bottom 6 winger with speed. I don't know how much center time he gets. And with Foudy and Danforth, those aren't bad things to be. It's just that they don't necessarily pop out when you're talking about them on paper. Just, I don't want to say run-of-the-mill because that does kind of sound a bit condescending, but solid bottom 6 winger guys with speed who can definitely pot some goals in there in a pinch. So that's going to be it for this video, just previewing what the center position might look like for the Blue Jackets heading into the season. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far into it, let me know in the comments below what you think the center room is going to look like for the Blue Jackets this coming season. Leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you would like to see more like it, and I will see you at the next one.